Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Ampire.
Hey babies, hey babies, hey babies. Hi everyone. What's up, everybody? How are we doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Man, I've had like a 24, 48 hour. What is it? It's not even 48 hours, but a couple of yeah, time has gone very slowly here over the last 36 hours or so. I'm very popular, very, very, very popular on the internet for the last 24 hours. So that's been new. That's been a new one for me.
You went viral. You went viral. So there you go.
For good reasons.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank God. Go the other way. Yeah, I'm still can't believe it happened. Honestly, like, Pat. Let's see. I went on with Scott yesterday. Okay. I'm going on with some others today, and it was funny. It just didn't occur to me that Scott wanted to talk to me about me. That was like, it was weird. Like he's like, hey, can you come on? And I'm like, yeah, he wants to talk about the game. And then he just asked me a million questions about me. And I was like, oh, and I like texted him after. I go, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm just not comfortable talking about myself. But I thought you just wanted to talk about the team.
I mean, that's how it works. Like,
I guess. All right. Should we look at it? Break it down? You want to break it down? Everybody else is looking at it. Might as well. Here I go, not liking talking about me. But at this point, this is a new one. All right. Hold, please. Let's put this up. Let's see what we got. You want to hear it or you just want to see it? What should we do here?
Yeah, I think you hear it. Yeah. You hear it.
All right. Let's take a listen again. All right. One more time, everybody. For the 8 millionth time, here's the Hail Mary call. Bears at 8 deep. 4 at the goal line. They bring 3. Daniel's backing up. He's just going to have to let one fly. Goes to the right side. Steps away from the defenders. Gives himself some time. Now steps up, fires. Heads towards the end zone. It is
Oh yeah! Whoa! You talk about a ball call. That's like a grand slam in the ninth inning of the World Series. Yes, go baby! The ball popped up into the air, right into the arms of Noah Brown. Jaden Daniels extended the play over and over and over.
Okay. There we go. So everybody's favorite part seems to be that London nearly threw me out of the booth. That seems to be the part everybody likes the most.
That seems to be the one that gets the most traction because he does give you a thump there, and you do move quite a bit. So I think everyone was a little worried, and it's funny. Like you're tall. London, though, is bigger. And so I think everyone got worried where it was like they see this football player about to knock you out, essentially. But that was not going to happen. I knew that.
Here goes. There it is. All right, there's the shove nearly out of the booth. It's funny, like when I walked downstairs into the locker room, so, all the media is waiting to get into the locker room. They hold everybody out for however long. Like it's like 10 minutes or something like that, what they call like a cooling down period. In this case, it was a little bit different, not a cooling down period. And I got, we're at a different part. Like we have to wait for an elevator to get down. So everybody was lined up by the time we got down there, and everybody's eyes, were bugging out of their head. And somebody said to me, he goes, "What was your call?" And I looked at him and I went, "I don't remember." Like I didn't remember what I said. Like I'm like, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I had no idea. And then someone else said, like, "What's the video going to look like?" And I go, "I have no idea." I'm like, I was so lost in the moment. I don't remember what I said. I don't remember what happened. Like I'm looking at this now. I don't remember London pushing me. Like I have no recollection of it whatsoever. I also don't remember him dancing like that. I don't remember any of it. I was just lost it. I was in the moment. It was incredible.
No, that's a classic blackout. That's exactly what happened.
It was a blackout.
Which I think is
what happened at that party last night? I'm not sure, but it was great.
It was great.
Yeah, whatever it was.
I didn't embarrass myself. That's what's important.
No, I did. I don't think I did. That's right. Then I said yesterday, because I hadn't seen it, I had to go tape the booth review. You're going to go hear a segment of that with London later on in this show. And I walked up to Jason Johnson, who's our producer with the Commanders, because he gets the booth camera thing. And I go, have you seen it yet? And he goes, yeah. And I go, am I going to be embarrassed? And he goes, no, not at all. And I went, are you sure about that? Because I don't remember what I did. It's one of this is the hangover. Like, did I lose a tooth? Did I hang out with Mike Tyson with a lion? Did I take off all my clothes and jump on a table?
Face tattoo.
Anything, right? Anything could happen. Like anything. I don't know what we're going to see on that video. I have no idea.
No, I mean, I think, just as a soft spot for all the producers, CJ's just two hands up in the air,
yes,
holding there was also classic because he didn't even know what to do either, I think. So
it's pretty wild.
Every angle from every person is amazing. The other part too that I love in this video is, yes, everyone's commenting on London pushing you and what you're doing and everything. I love it that half the video is the fans too.
Yes.
So you also see a Bears fan there that is just dejected essentially when it happens with all the Washington fans. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Someone pointed out to me there was like some 8-year-old kid there, or looked like an 8-year-old kid there going nuts. Like, so they're a fan for life.
Yes.
You went to this, you're done. You're never rooting for anybody else ever again. How could you possibly? Like, this is
That's
it.
Right. Right.
London also here. This is the moment where London does look like an 8-year-old child.
Yeah. Yes, where he's hopping around. Yes,
that's pretty wild. It is pretty wild. As you might imagine, I got a lot of texts and messages over the last 24 hours, and I appreciate all of it. It's been great. I mean, I never envisioned anything like that ever happening with anything, that I've done. So it was really cool. And most of it's been extremely positive. Like when Barstool calls you epic, I was like, yes. I was like, I win today. I was like, yes.
No, I mean, it was really funny too. There was, I think it was one of the accounts that kind of reposted on Instagram. And I guess what happens, I think it's Mad Dog that will go through some local calls and he'll tear them apart because like if you don't lay out for the play-by-play guy or whatever. And so someone basically was like, oh, Mad Dog's going to have a field day with this one because you guys basically just are screaming at each other after the ball is caught. And all the comments were like, shut up. This is how local radio should be. Like, this is what the home call should be. And that's what I like. I think you guys epitomize what everyone wants to hear when a call like that actually happens.
I mean, not that I want to get into like the mechanics of play-by-play, but like in general, you don't want that to happen. But in this case, this is what everybody was feeling.
No, yeah, that's...
This is what everybody was feeling. Nobody should feel like, oh, I need to keep my voice shut here for me. No, that's never literally happened before. It was unbelievable to see it, be part of it. You'd never think you're going to see something like that ever. I did not prepare for that. I didn't have lines prepared for a Hail Mary. Like I never, ever, ever thought I would see something like that. But when they made the play to McLaurin, I went, oh man, they got a shot at it. Like they had a real shot at it, a real shot. And then I saw a clip from Get Up today where they went off on the Bears about everything they literally did wrong and all the explanations they keep making for themselves. Like Matt Eberflus apparently said it was no big deal that Terry McLaurin made the 15-yard catch that set up the opportunity. And they're like apoplectic. Rex Ryan is sitting there going like, are you kidding right now? Like he can't throw the ball 70 yards, but he might be able to throw it 50. Like what do you mean it doesn't matter? Or the cornerback is sitting there, not paying attention, messing with the fans. And they're like, you have timeouts. Like you didn't see that. I didn't see it either, honestly, but like you didn't see it. You didn't call a timeout. You didn't get everybody on the same page. Then there's like, and I saw this on the field at the time, they brought 3, which I thought was a mistake, but like, whatever, that's what they decided to do. A 4th person was spying him. Like, where's he running?
Yeah. That was
you want him to run. Of course you want him to run. Mr. Bad Ribs over there is going to run 60 yards. No, he's not. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Why would you spy him? Either blitz him or bring him or put him on the goal line. What are you doing?
that was the one that I didn't notice until yesterday when people started pointing it out. And I was like, oh, that's the worst defender. Like, whatever on the trash talking, that guy still touched the ball at the end of the day. Like, that's so, to me, that one didn't.
Not in a good way.
No, I know. 100%. 100%. But like, he was late to the play and still batted the ball. Not that it was a good bat. But then I looked at that one where I was like, yeah, what are you doing spying on Jaden? He was not going to run the ball. You either put in another DB or, I don't know. I was thinking this yesterday too. You have 3 really good wide receivers on your team. You didn't even want to do that play where you throw a wide receiver back there to try to also bat it down or pick it off. Like, yeah, the awareness on that last play epitomized what that team is. And I told you this yesterday. I think Eberflus, he's playing himself out of a job because I don't see the sharpness from him that you should with the head coach.
Well, I mean, we started talking about this on your show yesterday, and it really, because of what happened and the way it happened, it was hard to kind of get into the details of the game outside of that, you know? But after really thinking about it, and I'm telling you, this team punked themselves. Like, I just got an overwhelming sense of, in thinking back on it, that they were insecure and they felt like they had something to prove. And they wanted to do it in a certain way to send a message. And at every turn, it backfired on them. Like, literally every turn. Like, in the first half, they brought out this formation where they had like 4 wide receivers, but one would be Cole Kmet and one would be DeAndre Swift. And they would line them up inside the numbers. And every time they did it, Caleb was going to make a call out of it and move the alignments around. And they must have done this 5 or 6 times. And they ran the play clock down every time. And that play, whatever they called out of it, never worked. None of it. The whole storyline about them coming into the game was, after the first few weeks, they had asked to simplify things a little bit because their passing game was awful. He was completing like 50-something% of his throws. He had 4 interceptions. He had a game where he threw the ball 52 times. Like, they had lost their running game. Swift was non-existent. Kmet was non-existent. And they stripped it down and they simplified it. And when we started talking about preparing for the game, I'm like, they're a very different offense now. Like, Swift gets a lot of carries. He's averaging 100-something yards, 130-something yards a game. It's like number 2 in the NFL over this period of time. Kmet and Williams are the one connection they have going, but it's all underneath. Very little of it is down the field, with the exception of one really nice design play in London that they scored a touchdown on. And I'm like, the problem they have is they have all these really great receivers, but there's no connection with them yet. None. Like, there's just no downfield passing game for them. And it was almost as if they outfooled themselves. Like, they put all this on Caleb. It was almost as if Caleb, it felt like he told the offensive coordinator, let me run the show because I want to show everybody what I'm capable of. It's like the matchup got to him, is what it felt like to me. And I mean, I wouldn't know until we talked to their offensive coordinator or their coach, and they'll never admit this, but it felt like they got away from actually what was working for them to try to make a point. And it backfired on them, like, big time. Like, that was one thing that backfired on them big time.
One of the things that I was reading about was how their red zone struggles had been happening like early on in the season, and that they had gone to this, backup center to be the fullback. And that, like, that led to that goal line play too, where they got too cute with it of, oh, here's my new wrinkle and I'm going to hand it off to him. And everybody was like, why are you putting the wrinkle on the wrinkle? Like, you're outthinking yourself. There's no reason for you to do this. And as you said, they were running the ball perfectly fine, and you even screwed that up somehow. Like that's what was blowing my mind. I don't know. It was like watching a former Washington team, to be honest with you. Like, wait,
yes.
what? Like, you didn't just simplify this. All you had to do was do the simple thing, and you were going to beat us, and you didn't, and it came back to bite you anyways.
Then they get into the second. It's 12-7 when they called a handoff on a 3rd and goal to a tackle.
Right.
That better work, guys. Like, the Hail Mary thing is getting all the attention, but how they didn't have the lead before that, the way they were running the ball in the goal line to, okay, I'll hear you out on it, was just like, that's the exchange, but it was an exchange with a tackle. Like, you called that that's what you called in the 4th quarter. Like, again, you guys wanted to win a certain way. You wanted to punk Washington. Like, Caleb wanted to show, I'm the best quarterback in the draft. I'll show you. And at the end of 3 quarters, he was 3 for 11 for 33 yards, getting caught up in all this nonsense with all this, like, what do you think? We're stupid? Like all this nonsense of how you're lining people up and moving them around and running down the play clock, and none of it works. When you have this moment, you try to hand it off to a tackle because you want to win a certain way. At the end of the game, you're leading anyway, and you're barking. Like, if they don't make the playoffs, there's going to be like, you're going to look back at that game and go, you guys punked yourselves. Like, all in the name of trying, like, not doing a buttoned up operation, just punked yourselves. And this team hasn't fallen into that. They lost a game, a tough game to Baltimore, and they were disappointed they lost. And I thought, not unlike the Washington-Chicago game, where I'm like, the right team won because they dominated them. Baltimore dominated Washington that day, but it was close. But Washington never unraveled. Never. They never tried to do crazy stuff. They never unraveled. Like, they were way more disciplined in it for each other. Chicago, good luck with that, because what you presented on the field, that's not winning football. And if you really think about the whole game on the whole, you may think you lost on a Hail Mary and that's terrible and like, oh, that's just really unlucky. But almost at every other point in the game, one, you were statistically dominated. When you had these key moments, you did crazy things that made no sense. And so good luck with all of that out there.
No, this is the game. I think I said it yesterday too. You look at Eberflus and you just think, you might not be bad enough to get fired, but this is the game that I see that you should probably be gone, because I don't see yourself elevating your team at this point. Like, you have the roster for this offense to look good. You have a defense to make this look good. And you just did dumb things on both sides of the ball to lose this game for you. And honestly, what happened was the Commanders snatched the victory back, because they should have won this game with the way that the Bears were playing. And of course, it was the Bears, as your Chiron says there. They punked themselves. They deserved every bit of how this game ended.
I agree. Like, I just, the more I think about it, I'm like, I get it. Like, it's all about this one thing. And they mishandled that, like, in so many ways. They mishandled the play before. They mishandled that. Like, why? The spy is my favorite part of the whole thing. Spying him to do what exactly?
Right.
To do what? You want him to run. What are you talking about? Like, of course you want him to run. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't care who your quarterback is. You get a Michael Vick. Go ahead. Like, try to run 75 yards when we have 9 guys standing at the goal line. Good luck with that.
I'm actually more shocked that player didn't deviate from the plan. Like, he didn't just decide to rush or go running towards the goal line. Like, the fact he actually settled in the middle of the field is mind-blowing, that he didn't just decide to do it. So, yeah, ridiculous.
I got to see. Who do they play next? I got to see who they play next, because their whole season is next week now.
I know they have their whole divisional.
Okay, they play at the Cardinals.
Okay, all right.
So they got at Cardinals, home Patriots. They should win both of those.
They should, and then look at who's after that, though. I mean, it's all their divisional games and like one game thrown in or something.
Packers, Vikings, Lions, Niners, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Packers.
It's ridiculous.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you next year.
Right. Yeah.
I'll call this now off that. They're not making the playoffs. Their division's too hard. So, I mean, they weren't making it through winning the division anyway, because their division's too hard. That's either going to be Detroit or Green Bay, probably. And Minnesota is good. So, like, they weren't going to win the division, but I'll buy them as a playoff team. I think their defense is legitimate. I think their offensive weapons are really good. If it gets better and it comes around and they get a downfield passing game, watch out. But I'll go back to what I said on Friday about them. I said, they're going to be really dangerous next year if they get their you-know-what together, because they don't have it right now. In that schedule, they lose to Arizona next week, it's over. They beat Arizona and New England, they got a puncher's chance.
Right, because division games are division games. You don't know what could happen there. Like,
right.
They could go 500.
Well, then you split with them and you get to 9 or 10.
Exactly.
You split with them, you get to 9 or 10.
Right, but like I've said to you now, how Bears fans were discounting Jaden Daniels of, oh, you guys haven't played anyone yet. I'm looking at them going, I'm sorry, the Panthers and Jags are how your offense fixed yourself? Like, get out of here with that now. Good luck against your own division.
Titans?
Yeah, the Titans too. Yeah, exactly.
And you all know you shouldn't have won that game.
Yeah, your offense sucked that game.
Yes. All right. Oh, man. What a day. Bears, Chicago's imploding, and I'm a superstar. How about that? What do you know? All right, we'll be right back. If you're listening to the radio show or the podcast, you will hear a segment from the booth review. Me and London Fletcher, day after the Hail Mary, where we kind of share our memories of that. And if you're watching on YouTube, we're going to talk about other things next. Very much the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Cap. All right, welcome back. Every week, London Fletcher and I host a podcast / digital show for the Commanders called The Booth Review. And this one obviously was really special, off one of the most memorable games that I can think of. The Hail Mary win over the Chicago Bears that gave Washington a 6-2 record. It's the first Hail Mary that we're aware of, according to Elias. Well, I couldn't remember any others, but Elias says it hadn't happened since 1970 at the bare minimum. So this was a really unique day to get together with my booth mate and try to just kind of make sense of what we saw. So I urge you to listen to the full episode, which you can get on commanders.com or anywhere you get your podcasts, or on the Commanders YouTube channel. The Booth Review is the name of the podcast. But every week they are kind enough to send me over a segment of it so you can get a chance to kind of hear how we started thinking about everything, and man, this was one for the memory books. So here was me and London starting off the show. Wow. Wow. That was a privilege and an honor to get to call something like that. I believe Elias said it's the first and only Hail Mary that they can find that this team has had, that they won on since at least 1970. I was racking my brain. I couldn't think of one. You know, I've watched every game this team's played since I was a kid. I can't remember one. I'm like, maybe Theismann had one, maybe Sonny had one. I can't remember one, and I don't believe we've ever had one. So we witnessed history yesterday.
Yes, we did. And I'm still recovering. I don't know about you, just recovering from what we saw yesterday. Just like unbelievable play, unbelievable moment, unbelievable atmosphere in the stadium. But the fact that they couldn't find one dating all the way back to 1970.
Yeah.
I know for me, that was the singular most iconic play that I've witnessed during my time here in Washington as a player, now as a broadcaster, former player, all those things. Man, what a moment.
It really was pretty wild. I'm trying to remember, the you like that game really comes to mind, but that's not a moment. It was a game, a comeback.
Right.
I was in Dallas when Santana caught the two passes on Monday Night Football that stole a game. Actually, this was actually quite similar, that the Bears Washington was getting dominated in that game, but had these two crazy moments with Santana and Mark Brunell. Chicago was getting dominated yesterday. We'll talk about that. Chicago was getting dominated and nearly stole it. The wrong team was about to win yesterday, really, in the way that the game had been played. Santana had another moment in overtime against Jacksonville. Where he caught a pass, ran for a touchdown. Sean Taylor's had some really incredible moments. One against Philadelphia where he picks up a fumble, full stride, running the other way. The memorable one against Dallas where they had like a...
Troy Vincent blocked a kick. Sean recovers it and, runs and gets a face mask, and then we're able to kick a field goal and win that game.
This is the second one this year, though. I mean, honestly, I would put up Jaden's throw to Terry in Cincinnati Monday Night Football. I know it wasn't a Hail Mary, but it was very similar in terms of kind of putting a game away late, a moment that like the percentage that it would be completed is very low. Like it's a low percentage throw, just an amazing moment. And there's something really, it just goes without saying, there's something very special going on here. It's a special team that has special players, that has a bond that's hard to describe, and now special things are happening to them.
Yeah, just the whole sequence of, all right, the Bears, they take the lead, get the ball back, with 25 seconds left, they take the lead, and then they kick the ball off to Eckler, and we get I think the offense took over with like 20 seconds left, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah, 20 seconds left, and, incompletion, and you get the big play, the big 13-yard completion, the play prior to the Hail Mary. And that's when a team has really practiced these type of scenarios. They've been in these moments, and now this is the opportunity to go out and execute. The 13-yarder to Terry where, I think it was 5 seconds left.
throw it to Terry. He gets out of bounds, gets an extra 13 yards that allowed them and allowed Jaden to be able to heave that football almost 66 yards to the end zone, and being, Noah Brown being exactly where he needed to be. The Bears executed. That was a teaching tape on how not to defend a Hail Mary, how the Bears defended.
One of their players was in the middle mocking the crowd while the play was happening.
While the play was happening.
Yeah.
Textbook teaching tape on how not to defend a Hail Mary. Conversely, textbook teaching tape on how to execute a Hail Mary play by our offense, man. Just what an unbelievable play.
They've talked a lot about preparation and getting ready to do things like this, and it's always kind of coach speak and, how do you practice stuff like this? But I will go back to, because I'm out here for practice every day.
Right.
And we don't get to see everything anymore, but during training camp we did. And towards the end of training camp, they held a practice. In light of what happened yesterday, they held a practice. It was like a Friday. It was like a run-of-the-mill Friday.
Yeah.
And we were up on the hill, and they were on this new field. And Dan Quinn had a microphone in his hands, and he was just yelling out scenarios. He was going, There's 20 seconds left. We have 2 timeouts. The ball's at the 35. Go.
Right.
And Jaden comes out, and Cliff Kingsbury's calling plays, and then they run through that scenario, and then he goes, all right, there's 48 seconds left. We have no timeouts. The ball's at the 15. Go.
Right, yeah.
And they did this for like an hour. And in light of what happened yesterday, where you hear everybody say, we prepared for that, they did. They did. And to your point, go look at where everybody was aligned on the field. They gave themselves a chance. It wasn't like it was a miracle. It's a low percentage play. But Zach Ertz was exactly where he was supposed to be. Noah Brown, who got here at the end of camp, was exactly where he was supposed to be. If it was going to happen, they were prepared for it to happen.
Yeah, and Terry was exactly where he was supposed to be. Now, the Bears did block Terry out. Sometimes teams knock the ball forward, you get the ricochet. So Terry was there. Now, the Bears did execute that part, and there were 2 guys boxing out Terry. Not one Bear boxing out Noah Brown, but going back to your point about the practice of those scenarios where you saw it in training camp, but they continue those scenarios even during the season, and DQ talked about that when we interviewed him in the post game, and also Jaden talked about that, how they put us in these scenarios in practice, and not just your typical. A lot of times you'll work on a Hail Mary play on a, let's call it a Saturday walkthrough. Hey, that play, but for them to be working on these type of scenarios during the practice week on a Wednesday or Thursday and a Friday practice, now you're doing it at full speed, full game reps, and it's also the defense getting an opportunity to work on those scenarios as well.
So, and then there's Jaden, okay? So there's 6 seconds left. He calls the play to McLaurin first. Yeah. Cool, calm, perfect throw, out of bounds, 4 seconds, 2 seconds left, gives him a chance. Not a good chance, but a chance, right? And then they snapped the ball to him. He didn't throw it for 12 seconds. Just an absurd amount of time, right? Granted, and I'm sure Chicago's regretting this part too, rushing 3 allowed that to happen. Had they rushed more, there's just no chance it would have extended that long.
They rushed 3 and they had a 4th guy as a spy.
As a spy on him. I don't even know why.
He's not going to run 75 yards to 60, 65 yards to the end zone. Like, I didn't
Or I guess maybe,
that.
Are they going to try to do a lateral play? And so somebody was up in the middle of the field on the hope, right?
He was 2 yards away from the line of scrimmage. He didn't, like, a lot of times you might have a guy come. So the scenario we used to do when I was here, defending our 2-minute. So I would line up on one of the receivers, and I would bump one of the receivers, disrupt him to slow him down, and then I would add to the rush. I would become the 4th rusher. But I'm disrupting the receiver first and foremost, slow him down. Then I add to the rush as a 4th rusher, outside contain guy, stuff like that, where a lot of times I may be unblocked. This guy didn't disrupt any receiver. He was, lined up 2-3 yards from the line of scrimmage at the snap, and he just kind of doing his dance and kind of waiting. He he could have been in the stands watching the game. He was an innocent bystander in my part, and from my standpoint.
You know, it goes back to, and nobody's perfect here, and we're taping this on Tell the Truth Monday, and I think there's a lot and we can get to it, that I think Dan Quinn and this team's going to talk about that was left out there. Because that score should never have come down to that. It really never should have come down. They were dominating them. That score could have been 24-0 after 3.
You talked about that multiple times.
Yeah.
The multiple times during the broadcast,
Yes.
and on air and off there. You just you had this look of concern, like, man,
because I've seen it too many times.
We should be destroying this team.
We were about to lose a game we shouldn't have lost.
Yes.
We were a miracle play and 25 seconds away from losing a game they had no business losing. The Bears had no business being in it. But we've seen it before. You let a team stick around. It takes 1 or 2 plays. Yeah. They make one mistake on one defensive play, and DeAndre Swift's gone, and now you got a game. Then you miss a field goal from 50-plus yards. Mm-hmm. And that guy's the number 1 pick for a reason. Like, will you think he's not going to make any plays at all? He is. And they did, and Washington's fortunate to get away with it. But the better team won, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to go back to Jaden on that play. So the Bears, I think mistakenly, probably regrettably now, only really rushed 3. So it allowed him to extend the play. Mm-hmm. He's too athletic to do that, right? So it takes him 12 seconds. He comes around to it. But the point I want to get to is this. Like, he was calm through the entire thing, from the play before to McLaurin to this play. What we're seeing is someone, and we've been saying this for weeks, he has never looked like a rookie. He doesn't act like a rookie. He looks like a veteran. And I don't know what will rattle him if none of this is rattling him, and just go watch his demeanor and how he went about this. It's no wonder good things are happening to him.
California cool. That's the way I describe him. California cool. I would love to be able to have a heart rate monitor on him during these type of moments, because, as you mentioned, his heart rate it's like as low as, I don't know what the lowest it could be, and you still be alive, so to speak. But man, it seems to be so low. Even before, he threw it, he's just like he's out on the practice field. I've been here before. No, he hadn't, because this was his first Hail Mary, I think, since high school.
Yes.
Well, yeah, so he's just so calm, cool, and collected. California cool. The situation, the moment was not too big for him. When it happened, even us interviewing him after the game, he's just like, man.
He was still in his uniform.
Still in his uniform, just so cool.
He's like, I don't know. It just kind of happened. How did it? You just had the play of the year. You just had a moment that, very, very, very few people will ever experience at this level. And he's like, yeah, I know. And that's it.
Yeah.
It's the end.
He's special.
He is.
He is special.
He is.
Special talent. The talent is one thing, but just special person for a kid. And I call him a kid, just being 23, still a young man. He's rare.
He is rare. He is rare. I'll get to the comparison in a minute, but I want to stay on the play because it's just so really amazing. Oh, by the way, I think if he ever took up golf, he'd probably win the Masters. He's got the blood pressure level for that.
Right. He's so.
You think he's worried about he has to get up and down on 17? I don't think so.
Or he had to sink a putt to win it, a 20-footer. No problem. No problem. Just to win the Masters.
I think also and we've seen this for weeks now. Listen to this locker room after every one of these games. They were happy. They should have been, right? They should have been.
Yeah.
But it's measured. It remains measured. This is amazing. We're really happy it happened. It's a memory for a lifetime for all of us, fans, us as the broadcasters, players, obviously. Like, all of us are enjoying this, and it's wild to hear our calls on CNN and MSNBC and NBC.
all over.
It's wild to hear that happen because it really was an amazing moment. But listen to them. Like, they've remained. It's insular. It's a bubble. It's about us. We have to get better. Don't get on, as Dan Quinn talks about, the roller coaster. Mm-hmm. And you even heard that yesterday, that we're just 6-2. We won a game. That was a good game. There's a lot left that we need to deal with. And so this isn't over. We're at the beginning of something here.
And it's special. And then we talk about, and I know they talk about, the brotherhood that they have.
Yeah.
I've mentioned this on a couple of occasions where you can see and feel it, even if you're watching them from afar. You don't have to be around here. You don't have to be in the building. You don't have to be around them every day to know that they have a special bond, special connection. And it's happening. I mean, this happened so quickly with over half the roster turned over.
This is unprecedented.
This is unprecedented.
Happening. Yeah.
But again, it starts with Dan Quinn. He set this culture. He set this connectivity to where those guys just feel so together. They're going to fight to the end with each other, win, lose, or draw. When they get together, they win these games. I mean, these we're experiencing the byproduct of what Dan Quinn has put together from a culture and a team building standpoint.
Yeah, it's hard to compare it, but like as a kid in the 80s here, the Joe Gibbs teams, there wasn't really a big expectation on them initially. And I was very young, so it's hard for me to really remember. I need some people older than me to really remind me of it. But there wasn't. And through those years, they built this brotherhood, this culture. They allowed people to be themselves. The personalities came out. They played for each other. And
those teams stayed together a lot longer. There was no free agency early during the beginning of those.
That's right.
Those runs.
But if you go and look at actually like who's in the Hall of Fame from those teams, it's fewer people than you would think for what was basically a dynasty.
Right.
Like there are no quarterbacks that are in the Hall of Fame from any of those teams. Riggo, one of the Hogs, it should be two, but one of them is in the Hall of Fame. Their great returner should be in the Hall of Fame, but isn't. Art Monk, one receiver.
And 2 receivers. No, receiver.
Art Monk.
Yeah, Art Monk.
That's it.
And D. Green. Yeah.
Darryl Green is in the Hall of Fame. That's it. Of a dynasty group. And then just think about this year. I hate doing the comparisons because their teams won a lot. Super Bowls are in the playoffs every year. The 91 team was maybe the best team this team's ever had. This is the best season I've ever been a part of covering it professionally. I've never experienced anything like this because of what they're doing, how they're doing it, how together they are, obviously all these incredible moments that they're giving us. And it feels very unexpected. I'm always optimistic. I didn't expect this. This is beyond. It's come together quicker. And it reminds me of that time because there were no expectations on these guys either. And then I start to look around the roster and I go, you know what? Dorrance Armstrong's been around the block for a long time. So has Dante Fowler. So has Cleveland Farrell. So has Olamide Zaccheaus. So like all these people that they brought in that everyone just kind of described as, well, they're just baselining the roster. These are veterans. And in some cases have been on really, really good high-level teams, and somehow it's come together very quickly here. Check out the Booth Review. The entire episode comes out every Monday following the Commanders games. Me and London Fletcher, you can get it anywhere you get your podcasts or on the Commanders YouTube page or commanders.com. Be right back. Bram Whiteside Show, ESPN 630, The Sports Capital. All right, welcome back. I want to go back to the Bears game for just one moment, which is, I will say this. If we're going to have a new rivalry with them, which I do think is very, very, very possible because, look what happened. Boy, it's the best way to get this started. Chapter 1 was that. They were chippy. They got McLaurin pissed off. They're practically getting into fights. They do a really dumb thing. So I'm hoping Tyreek Stevenson's on the team next time we play them, just so we could point it out constantly. They did a number of dumb things that backfired on them. Jaden was amazing again. It ends in a Hail Mary. Chapter 1, perfect. Perfect if we're going to start a new rivalry.
No, I agree 100%. And, there's a part of me too that's now going, all right, I think I want to say we play the North next year, don't we? I'm pretty sure we do because we didn't play them last year. We didn't play them this year. I feel like 2021 was
NFC South this year.
Right.
We played, who did we play last year? NFC West, because we went out west a couple times. We went to right. So yes.
So next year we get them no matter what. And what I love about this too is they're not going to meet in the playoffs yet, but like you win the next one and you win in another dramatic fashion. That fan base and that franchise, we've been that franchise before. It's going to get freaky on them too. Like it's going to get weird on them if we somehow meet them in the playoffs and it's going to be like, oh God, not them again. Like that's what I want.
It could be like,
become.
This could be an 8 steps ahead, though, one. Pat Mahomes has won a lot of Super Bowls, and Joe Burrow keeps beating him in Arrowhead. So it could be one of those weird ones. Either way, it could go either way. We'll see.
Right.
All right, let's see. We get the Giants next. Saw them last night. Monday Night Football loss. They pulled what Oregon did last night and threw a 12th man on the field late on purpose to give Pittsburgh a first down. Everybody was oohing and on about that, but, he stole that from Dan Lanning up in Oregon because I saw him do that against Ohio State. I remember pointing it out here. I went, that was pretty good. Like, that was a good move. That's a loophole that both, sports are going to have to close, obviously, but they used it. They got it. Your boy Dimes is just...
Definitely not my boy.
I shouldn't say anything because his record against us is amazing, but, he's a liability. I mean, he really is. He's late on throws. At the end of the game when you need a play, he airmails a ball that's picked off. He almost got lucky and it didn't. He bobbled it so much he didn't. The turnovers are killers for them. Boy, were they just going on and on about this draft class that the Giants have. And I looked at them and I went, really? You think that's who do you see here that you're like, Tyrone Tracy's going to turn their team around? What are you talking about? They were going on and almost like they were just trying to sell the package for the Giants because they've been hit over the head. Their record is what their record is. Their offensive line's a mess. Dexter Lawrence is awesome. Brian Burns is awesome. They do play hard. They're very competitive, but here's hoping to 7-2. If that's what we're going to get, if that's the quarterback play we're going to get out of them, then I think we got a real good shot to beat them again.
No, I think this is one where, if you're a Giants fan, don't get complacent, as in keep Dayball. They played hard. They played them very close, with how bad Jones is actually. He's worse than I thought he would be. I really was actually I was kind of high on him having a Tannehill season where he would be fine. And he hasn't. He's been awful. And the fact that Dayball's kind of kept them afloat is impressive. So they're going to go and get their quarterback next offseason and roll the dice again. And I have no doubts that they're going to be at least competitive. They are not it this year with Jones, though. He's god awful.
Ask Dion. Does Dion want his son to play in New York? Because remember, didn't he say there's only a few places I want my guys to go?
Yep. It was here
to play there.
One of them was here that he said that he trusted.
We're good. I'll talk to you about that Travis Hunter guy, but we're good otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Travis Hunter, by the way, did something the other day. He had a crazy game again. I was watching. He did something in the game against Cincinnati that if he ever tries to do in the NFL, it will look like what the Bears guy did on the goal line. He did one of those things where he came off the line really slowly, 2 faux steps, and then ran by this dude. Good luck doing that against Jalen Ramsey.
Yep, exactly.
It will never work, and then they will show it, and then the get-up crew will kill you over it.
Right.
But Travis, piece of professional advice. Don't even pretend to bring that to the NFL. It will not work. Ever will that work.
Plus, anyway, not to mention the NFL, they're going to catch up to him too. So that'll happen too.
My latest favorite thing with the Cowboys is Trayvon Diggs loses it on a reporter before he even gets in the locker room. Came out of the locker room after they lost to confront a reporter about an in-game tweet that seemingly questioned his effort on a catch by George Kittle. These guys are done too. They're another one. That operation, they've lost it. They've lost every week. It's something like this now with them.
You can't make it up. I saw this and I was like, he did what? Because the reporter tweeted what? It wasn't even an overly critical tweet. It was just, what is he doing here? That's all it was. And I just couldn't believe Diggs, knowing he plays for the Cowboys, he's got to have some awareness to just eat that opinion. I'm sorry. It's going to go crazy the second you go out there and then confront him. And then what he said to the reporter, it was like, guy, what are you doing? You're an NFL player. You don't need to drop that on a reporter.
They're next for Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders. Bye. They're 3-4.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Right. Good luck with that. So they've unraveled. That's wonderful. Chicago is on the verge of it. They got a chance to right themselves because they get Arizona and New England. They could win those two. Their schedule gets really hard after that, but they could. They lose that Arizona game because Arizona's got a shot at their division now because of the way things are going on here. So
Who knows? They just won in Miami. Who knows? They've been tough. They already beat the Niners once this year. Like, they're tough this year. So that's no gimme for them.
No, Arizona's a coin flip every week. Like, I stay away from them. If you look at the games, you don't know what version of them you're going to get, and they can hang with anybody, except you just don't know what version of them you're going to get week to week. So yeah, it's their coin flip.
Your boy take the bus. He might be looking at Caleb in that offense going, I might get him. So we'll see. Let's see. A couple quick things. Might be a Dodger sweep tonight. We'll see. I did think until we had our moment, the Freddie Freeman thing was incredible. Topped you. That was like, we topped you for incredible sports moments. But the walk Mookie Betts to get to Freddie Freeman first pitch grand slam. Oh, I mean, that's the best of sports. You can hate the teams that are in it because they're so expensive and all that stuff. But come on, you didn't jump off the couch on that one. That was amazing. No,
and I know it's like the right baseball play because second and third got, stolen and taken, and then you want to just load the bases because first base is open. But to go to Freeman, who has been nails in the postseason in the past, he isn't what he once was, but he's still that guy. Just ridiculous for them to do. And, I'm going to get my joy either way out of this one. Like, either the Dodgers blow a 3-0 lead or the Yankees lose. Like, I'll be fine with the reaction on either side here. But to your point, too, about them both being expensive, no, this is what I want. I want expensive teams in the World Series because they spend money. You need to spend money, too, at every other team in the league. Like, this is what I actually want. I don't want a Moneyball team making it far anymore.
I love the Cinderellas in the NCAA tournament until we get to the Final Four, and then I want the behemoths.
Right.
I don't want Sister Jean at the Final Four. Sorry, I don't, because I know it's going to happen to Sister Jean's team. Like, it's all fun when they take somebody out. That's fun. Exactly. All right, last thing. What do you got tonight? Caps, Rangers.
Rangers. Caps have had a couple days off here. They're at home. They've been very good at home. They only lost that first game so far. I expect a low-scoring one here. Give me like a 3-2 Caps bounce-back win tonight. I think they think they play well. They're also going to tweak the third line probably a little bit today. I don't know. I haven't confirmed this, but they called up Mike Scarbosa, who played pretty well last year in some spot work. Hendrix Lapierre has not started the season off well. So if there's a move that's going to be made tonight, it's probably going to be Lapierre gets scratched, Scarbosa enters into the lineup. We'll see if that makes a difference for the third line.
Let's see. Giants lost on Monday Night Football. They get us next week. We get the Rangers tonight. World Series could end tonight. New York's having a rough one. All right, this is an all-time week. And I'm hoping, let's spread the magic. Hopefully, Joe, you get to call a goal right at the buzzer in the third period, Joe.
It's unfortunately
walk off on the Rangers tonight. How about
unfortunately, Craig and Joe not on the call primetime game tonight.
Oh, so, that's right, ESPN game.
7:30 puck drop, which means it's a primetime game.
That always stinks when we don't get our guys. All right. All right, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. Pray about the show. ESPN 630, the Sports Capital.